Good afternoon to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here, Wilmington, North Carolina. That's where I am. It is Friday, the 17th day of May, 2024. On the update today, we're going to talk about what happened in Houston yesterday evening. Pretty damaging event there. And as I'll show you some of the pictures of it, I'm sure you've seen it already, but I'm starting to wonder, are they ready for something like a Michael or an Otis? And I'll explain further as we go along in today's update. We will also take a look at what's happening in the Eastern Pacific. Spoiler alert, not much right now. And the Atlantic Basin is, of course, very quiet. It's only May 17th. We have a ways to go. A couple weeks now until the start of the Atlantic hurricane season. And as I discussed in yesterday's update, that window of opportunity that moves around the globe, partially the Madden-Julian oscillation. You also get these convectively coupled Kelvin waves. That's another sort of impetus for development. All of that kind of stuff should be coming around in near the first part of June. We're still almost 2 weeks away from that, so we'll deal with it when we get there. All right? So let's take a look at what's happening out there. First of all, the headline here, I've got everything on mute because, I can't have the audio competing with what I'm saying. But look at these visuals. This is off the Fox Weather Twitter. And yeah, I know it's called something else, but I call it Twitter. And these are from different people on social media. And look at that. Like you would think that a hurricane was coming through. And you look back down here, very, very damaging. Let's mute this. Power lines arcing, transformers blowing. You can hardly see. Looks like the eye wall of a hurricane. This is Otis in Acapulco last year. And I bring this up because if what we saw yesterday was caused by this, a line of thunderstorms coming in with potentially a tornado in here, but certainly very strong winds, whether or not you classify it as a tornado or downburst, whatever, wind is wind. I understand we want labels on everything, but the damage was done. 4 people lost their lives, maybe, hundreds of millions of dollars in damage. Skyscrapers damaged with windows blown out. Just big problems. And going back here to some of these Otis pictures, these are not AI. Yeah, I hate to have to say that. This is real. This is what happens when a Category 5 runs into a major city and an area like Acapulco. And a friend of ours and a colleague in the biz, Dr. Hal Needham, he went down there. He's a geographer like me. He's got a PhD, though, that guy. But he studied it. He's been there on the ground. And I just started thinking after seeing everything yesterday out of Houston, I hope we don't have something like this happening, but I mean, come on. If the wind and everything from yesterday's event did that, what are we going to do when we get the likes of a Michael coming in? And just to remind you, this is what Michael looked like on satellite coming into the Mexico Beach area. The core came over parts of Panama City. That was on the western eye wall. I was there. And then, of course, that eastern eye wall going right over Mexico Beach and that area with devastating impacts, wind damage, and of course a pretty massive surge there. Downtown Houston with much, much bigger buildings than does Panama City have. And Panama City Beach, of course, they were mostly spared from Michael. But, let me just fast forward through this. This is off a YouTube channel that I found. I just searched up, because I needed it fast, Hurricane Michael radar. That radar presentation right there, that's the core of Hurricane Michael. You bring that over Houston, and you compare it to what happened yesterday, I'm concerned. I am, and I'm concerned for our other cities now. This was a big eye-opening event, and, we got to learn the details from the Weather Service. Was it a tornado? And if it was a tornado, that gives me a little bit of, I guess, comfort, because a tornado is a much more concentrated area of wind, and it's like getting punched instead of rolled, I guess is a good way to put it. I'm trying to put this into context so we can all understand. I could live with, okay, a tornado absolutely did the damage in Houston, but if it was just straight line winds or even a big downburst, and we saw the damage that we did, what is something like a Michael with that kind of a core? Or we think about Laura in 2020 with its very intact core that passed over Lake Charles and blew out the windows of the the Capital One Tower. They're going to tear that down, by the way. They've just given up, and that'll be it. But yeah, very concerning what we saw yesterday in the Houston area. I don't mean to be like doomsday sounding, but we go back to what we see here on Fox Weather and what we've seen on social throughout today and last night. Not good from possibly just a line of thunderstorms. Again, let's wait and see what the Weather Service says. Look at that. That's just bananas right there. Gosh, I can't imagine what something like that would do. All right? Nothing to worry about out there. Anything close to that right now. The Atlantic's nice and quiet. In the East Pac, we got this one area that's popped up out here. If we look at the 7-day, we have two little yellow areas. Both of these low probability of development overall, and both of these should stay away from mainland areas of southern Mexico. That's the bottom line. So even if something does develop, we don't really have to worry about it. We can see it on satellite. One little area right here trying to curl up down there. Another area of clusters. An area consisting of clusters of showers and thunderstorms. By the way, still nasty down here with some rain and squalls and heavy thunderstorms over the deep south here. The threat of flooding continuing. And all of this is going to move up into our area, which, by the way, Wilmington, check this out. My son is a goalkeeper for his soccer team. He plays on a travel team, the Hammerheads, and we are having 200-something teams coming to Wilmington this weekend for a big tournament called the Seaside Classic, I think is what it's called. And all that nasty weather is going to be heading this way. A lot of anxious moments for soccer parents this weekend, including me. Anyway, nothing going on in the tropics to worry about, so that's a good thing to know, especially with what happened yesterday in Houston. However, another lesson learned, and I want you guys to remember this, all that rain and yuckiness is going to move out. It is going to be days for some of these areas to get their power back. Did you see some of the imagery where the giant steel transmission towers collapsed? Wow, that's going to take a long time. You don't just get whoever, ERCOT out there or whoever. I'm sure there's going to be multi-state responses, I hope. That's a long-term recovery effort there. The heat is getting ready to come back, and we need to keep that in mind when we talk about preparedness. We got to prepare for the aftermath. So this thing that happened in Houston, to me, is a preseason wake-up call, and we need to use that to motivate us to be really paying attention and make sure we are ready. And some stuff, like I said, if we get a really solid core of a hurricane in there or elsewhere, Tampa, Miami, Charleston, Myrtle Beach, New Orleans, I don't know, Mobile, what's going to happen? I'm kind of concerned about what we saw yesterday. Anyway, back to this. A little bit of vorticity trying to cluster in here and, congeal, but nothing happening imminently. And there's the energy, by the way, over the deep south. When you see that on a vorticity chart like this, that means inclement weather underneath it. And you just need to look at a satellite animation or radar, and you'll confirm that. And here is our big system out here over the Atlantic, a non-tropical area. See how the energy is all spread out with our tropical systems, and it won't be long. In the next few weeks, something probably will pop up. You'll see how this bundles much more than these larger systems in the subtropics, these extratropical storms or mid-latitude storms. Looking at the GFS, let's use the color black here, that'll help. This is the GFS over the next, we'll go out to about a week. This is the 12Z run, 5,000 feet in the atmosphere. This is the general area that we're going to be watching right through here. Not much from it over the next week or so. There's a week right there. It's kind of skipping through stuff. So yeah, GFS not too enthusiastic about anything developing in there. And that's a sign, too, if the Pacific can't get going, once the Atlantic does, it'll probably just take off and stay busy off and on every couple of weeks, probably through December. That's just the way it looks like things are going to be going. Just to compare, the ECMWF operational, this is from the 6Z run, so we only get 90 hours here. Nope, over the next 90 hours, nothing developing on the Euro as well. All right, and don't forget, we do have the ensembles. These are the operational, these are the deterministic models. You have your ensembles, the sort of what ifs. Well, let's try it if this is different or if that's different, and you get a bunch of different outcomes. And generally speaking, even the ensembles are not very, as we say, bullish on development in the East Pac And, of course, nothing in the Atlantic Basin seen at all. And once we get into early June, though, with the arrival of a more favorable upper-level pattern, we might start to see something. But nothing to worry about over the next week or so, more than likely. All right, couple things of note. We do have the severe threat here today, way up here in the northern states, bordering Canada, and then down here along parts of the I-10 corridor as that whole mess that blasted Houston and Harris County as a whole yesterday moves through. So keep an eye on that. Tomorrow, my area, oh good, just in time for the 200 soccer teams coming down. We're in a slight risk. Wonderful. For Sunday, the forecast shows that parts of the plains, Kansas and Nebraska, to be specific, could have some inclement weather, severe weather, all modes possible, tornadoes, hail, and straight-line wind damage, that kind of thing. Then, and this is where my interest is piqued, let's enlarge this and separate it out on it. Oh, look at that. There's just nothing there. We'll go back to this. That's fine. This has my interest because Monday, first of all, no update Monday. Maybe I'll do one in the morning. We'll see. No, I won't because I'm flying. Have to think about these things. I'm going back out. We still have a few days left on the clock in severe weather season, maybe a few weeks. We'll see. And we do have our big hail project. That is my next great adventure to study gigantic hail. We're just getting started. Got a lot of work ahead of us. Look, the whole hurricane camera thing, like that box back there, that's the one that was in Michael. That took 20 years to get to where we are. I don't think it'll take 20 years to make improvements to how we understand hail. I intend on it to be a lot shorter, but we're just getting started, and I will be joined on this expedition, that's what I call these, by Greg Nordstrom, who taught many hundreds of people that are in the business now, especially broadcast meteorology. They had Professor Greg Nordstrom back in the day at Mississippi State University. He's going to go with me. He's flying out Sunday. I fly out Monday morning. That is day 4, Monday afternoon into Monday evening. We're going to hit the road and get up there into Kansas, southeast Nebraska, somewhere around there, and try to find these big hailstones with our specially equipped vehicle and see what we get. Observe, collect, report, study, document, you name it, all of it. So that's where we will be next week. Somewhere along the line, I will crank out an update, maybe Tuesday morning. I'm just kind of thinking ahead here. It helps me to think things out. Yes, Tuesday morning at the hotel, probably, who knows, in Kansas somewhere. I'll have an update on Tuesday morning to look ahead to next week, all right? We'll talk about that again real quick before I sign off. Also, I think like 46 different people have ordered one of these. Thank you. It is great to get a little extra funding, certainly. Gas is expensive, so we appreciate that support. But more than that, and I mean this from right here, bottom of my heart, bottom's right there, it is the art form of a paper tracking map. Thank you so much for supporting that. Not lost art, because, hey, they're still here. And there's still those that are published by newspapers and TV stations, probably in grocery stores. But that one, as you can see there, I'm in there for scale, is poster size. It's 18 by 24, full color, 100-pound glossy stock paper, whatever. It's nice and sturdy. And that could be a collector's item when the season is done. If you want to get one, follow the link in the description, and I'll send it to you. I'm going to send a bunch out tonight. If you order over the weekend, it'll be a few days into next week, but I'll make sure you get it ASAP. All right? All right, now I can get over to the title card and get ready to punch out, so to speak. So, no updates over the weekend. Not necessary. Not much happening. And we'll have an update on Tuesday. I'll do it Tuesday morning from, I don't know, Kansas City or somewhere. Wherever Greg and I end up after Monday night. I'll be back. I take the laptop. It's over there on the other desk in my office. And we'll have a hurricane outlook and discussion for you next Tuesday from somewhere in the Southern Plains. All right? Have a good weekend. For those of you in Houston, hang in there. You've been through some of this kind of stuff before. You're strong. You'll get through it. But look, please take it to heart that this is a sign we need to be ready, and perhaps more ready than we thought, for the upcoming hurricane season. And with that, I bid you farewell. From all of us at HurricaneTrack, I'm Mark Sudduth. Chat with you again on Tuesday.